Good morning, everyone. So Halloween is coming, so I wore my orange tie for the Orange County Buddhist Church. I'm messaging the Orange County Buddhist Church, and also for Halloween that's coming up. And I know that superheroes is one word. I'm a math major. I'm not a very good speller, so I looked it up. I'm purposely going against the grain because I really want to talk about heroes of Buddhism that are really quite super. And how important it is to have a Sangha, and how every one of us contributes something very important to the Buddhist way. So first I wanted to show you some images. I want to show you my secret identity. I accidentally revealed this on a Zoom meeting during COVID. So this is what I wear at home. I have Linda, my wife, call me Batman. So Batman is from DC Comics. And in DC Comics, I may make some mistakes today. I studied up with my daughter Emily's partner, Kayla, is a super duper DC Marvel Universe wonk. I mean, she knows everything. And I mentioned this, I think on the first service back in September. I did a Dharma talk once on Star Wars, and I accidentally said that Yoda trained Luke Skywalker in the ways of the Force, and I said on Tatooine. That was a huge mistake in the Star Wars universe. It was Dagobah. It was a Dagobah system. And I think some of the Sangha members kind of quit listening to my talk because they were so upset. It was a trigger. It was very triggering for them. And as soon as the Dharma talk was over, I thought they were going to tell me how good it was. And they said, Sensei, that's not right. That's not right. Tatooine is where Luke grew up, but it was a Dagobah system. Everybody knows that. So I've tried to check this and verify this with Kayla. I actually have a little cheat sheet here that Emily and Kayla wrote for me to try to avoid any disasters. So Batman is my favorite superhero. And I think it's because he's fully human. He doesn't really have any special powers. And he's also flawed. So I identify with him. Fully human, flawed, and very high tech. So this is my favorite outfit that I wear at home in private. And I have an apprentice that's working under me now, maybe taking over because I can't, I'm getting older and it's harder for me to go down the bat pole. I can't go down like I used to. So here's my apprentice. So this is Linda training our underling. This is my grandson, Torin, working on his bat mask, his Batman mask. And then Halloween's coming up. I think we're having a Halloween party on October 30th. I wanted to show you what Linda and I wore. So I like Batman the best, but I think Captain America has the best outfit. So I would give him best outfit. And this is actually what I look like under my robes. There's no padding here or anything. This is just Lycra. But you can't see it under my robes. So I'm a lot like Black Adam. I heard that The Rock has no padding under his Black Adam costume. That's just all really him. And I found out Black Adam is DC Comics. So here's my special. I only take this out once in a while. This is like an heirloom. I took it out of my lair and brought it. I wanted to show it to you. This is one of my favorite things. Whenever I need protection, I take this out. Okay, now I'm going to show you a picture of my daughter, Emily. I think she took this last October. She went to some kind of a party. This is my daughter, Emily. And I texted her right before I came out. I couldn't remember who this rabbit was. This is Roger Rabbit from Who Saved Roger Rabbit? Yep. So that's my daughter, Emily. At last year's Halloween, I think she got to the party extra early because there's no one there. And then here's Emily and her partner, Kayla, at another Halloween function. So I sat down with Kayla and Emily last weekend, and we went through my talk, so I wouldn't make any mistakes. And I have another cheat sheet here that I'm going to use. So I wanted to go over some. There's a big tradition of these action hero groups where they join together as a team, and each one of them has a unique talent, and together they're a whole. Together they're whole. Each one is good at a specific thing, but they're highly specialized, and they need each other to survive, almost like a Buddhist Sangha. So this one's a little obscure. And some of these names I think are a little sexist, and they need to not be gendered, as my daughter says. This is the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. I thought this was really old, but I think it's from like the 90s. I think it came from a British story or novel. Kayla didn't know that much about this. She said it was a little violent. This one she said she thought was a little violent. So I don't know that much about this one. But I think these are all like Victorian England superheroes. And then this one, the Justice League. And I looked up, there were 7 original Justice League members, and working from the, the guy on the far left I didn't know. Does anybody know who that is? I looked it up with Kayla. His name's Martian Manhunter. I've never heard of him before. He must not be that popular. The next one I knew, Green Lantern, Wonder Woman, Superman is really easy, My Secret Identity, Batman, Flash, and then the one on the far right I didn't know either. That's Hawk Girl. I don't know who that is. And then here we have the X-Men, and they're from Marvel. And this group I really didn't know, but working from left to right, you have Kitty Pryde, Cyclops, Halle Berry, I think, is Storm. The redhead in the back is Jean Grey, and her name is also Phoenix. I know that one, Wolverine. I know him. And then in the back is Rogue. And then this guy's kind of obvious, I guess. He's Angel. And then this mean guy in the back is the Beast. And I knew the guy on the right, Picard from Star Trek. He is Professor X. And then there's a comic Marvel or heroes called the Avengers, but it's not these Avengers. This is a really old TV show I used to have to watch when I was a little boy, and it was the worst night of television. When I was little, we only had 3 channels, and they were all in black and white, and you had to actually get up and walk over, and you had to turn the dial. It was so hard. So when I was a little boy, I just thought Wednesday nights was just the worst. It was like nothing good on. I had to watch the Avengers. I looked it up. This was on from 1961 to 1969, 161 episodes. This is John Steed, Patrick McGee, and Emma Peel, Diana Rigg. Everybody had a crush on Diana Rigg. But these are the wrong Avengers. For today, these are the Avengers we're going to look at. And I don't know why, but I know these guys pretty good. In the front there is Iron Man. Back left, the woman is Black Widow. And then the guy with the giant hammer is Thor. And then we have, in the back with the bow and arrow is Hawkeye. And then my favorite outfit person, best dressed of all superheroes, Captain America. And then we have somebody with anger issues. That's one of the 3 poisons, is the Hulk, right? Whenever he gets upset, he becomes the Hulk. So I kind of wanted to show you this little clip about how they all work together as a team. It's like the whole is greater than the sum of the parts.
There was an idea to bring together a group of remarkable people. So when we needed them, they could fight the battles that we never could. Gentlemen, what are you prepared to do?
No offense, but I don't play well with others.
Big man in a suit of armor.
Take that away. What are you?
Genius, billionaire, playboy, philanthropist.
So I tried to cut out the violent parts. But it's very interesting. They all have to come together. They're not all best friends. They are a little antagonistic once in a while, but they're able to do something very important because they meld their talents together. And they become very powerful as a team or as a group. So now this is called the pivot. I'm going to pivot now to Buddhism. It's very subtle. You won't notice it. It's seamless. So I've been reading this book called Buddha Dharma, The Way to Enlightenment. And I've mentioned it before. It's like 843 pages. And what they did is they took all the sutras and they lined them up in chronological order. And then they took little snippets and they made it into like one long novel, like one historical, it's like a book. You can read it. Like the Buddha's born, and then he's a little kid, and then he gets older, and it's really interesting. It's all, it has this nice chronology. That's the organizing principle. So you can read it. It's interesting, and you're following the Buddha through his life. And also, I think Reverend John Duami was involved in editing and helping produce this book. So it has a tie, an important tie to the Orange County Buddhist Church. And there's a lot of the Buddha's personality in here. And when he does something really human or maybe funny, scholars say that's where you're really seeing maybe something that literally happened, right? It literally happened because it's so real and so human and not embarrassingly funny, but funny in a very revealing way. So on page, okay, so this is the Buddha with his Sangha. On the left are the lay people. And on the left is the monks and nuns, and on the right are the lay people, men and women. And they call this the four communities. And when we read Taking Refuge, the Three Treasures from Thich Nhat Hanh on page 22 in our service book, at the bottom, they actually mention the four communities. And I was at VBT once at Vista, and they said, well, what's that? What are the four communities? I didn't know. I didn't know what the four communities were. Anaheim, Huntington Beach, Vista, Gardena. That's it. So the four communities is, and again, we're dividing on gender lines, which we probably wouldn't do anymore, but we have monks and nuns, and then male lay, and female lay people. And when you read this book, it's kind of surprising. He's not really talking a lot about doctrine and philosophy. What he really does is he talks to each group or individual in a very personal way, encouraging them to join a Sangha and to walk the path and to practice. He seems to be really encouraging people to go all in and really invest in this practice. And then when I got to page 616, I thought this was very interesting. The Buddha says this, or the narration of it says, again, on another occasion, the world-honored one, or the Buddha, assembled all of his disciples and taught them of the dominant features of the disciples who had followed him up to that point. So we're going to read a bunch of things. There's a lot of parallel structure in the sutras that help you memorize. So he goes through this about 50 times. He says, disciples, among my disciples, so-and-so is the most this. And it's almost like a high school yearbook. But I thought about it this morning on the way to church. It's different than a high school yearbook, because the high school yearbook only usually calls out the most popular people, the head cheerleader, head football player. But the Buddha, it seems like he's calling out everyone. Everybody gets most something. Wouldn't that be nice in high school if everybody in the senior class got most something at something? So that's what the Buddha is doing here. So I wanted to share some of these with you. First, he addresses the monks, and I didn't take them all. I just took the ones that kind of caught my attention. The one with the most experience, Anakondana. The one with the most wisdom, Sariputra. Sariputra is very famous. He shows up everywhere. Insight, Moggallana. So Sariputra and Moggallana are the two main disciples under the Buddha, but they're listed along with everybody else with equality. The best at keeping the precepts, Kāyapa, the legendary initiator of Zen Buddhism. Teaching, Ananda, that's our guy, the person that asked the Buddha why he looked so radiant in the larger sutra. So Ananda is best at the teachings. And he was also given the epithet, the one who hears most. And the Buddha didn't give that to anyone else. Ananda's unique in Buddhist history for being the one who heard most. Meditation, Kanka Ravata, I don't know who that is. Effort, Sona Kolavisa, I don't know who that is. Sincerity, Rathapala. So, he's calling out not just the ones we know about, but everybody in his Sangha was highlighted for something very important. And then he does the same thing for nuns, the exact same list for women that he did for men. So Mahapajapati, the Buddha's foster mother, wisdom, Kema, insight, Apalavana. So Kema and Apalavana kind of share the same roles for the women, for the nuns, that Sariputra and Moggallana did. Precepts, Patakara, I know of her. We'll talk about her at adult discussion. Teachings, Dhammadina. Meditation, Nanda. Effort, Sona. And sincerity, Singalakamata. So then, for lay people, he chooses different categories, which I think makes sense because we practice in different ways. It's difficult for us to be best at meditation with a 40-hour-a-week job, kids, household chores. We excel at different things, but they're equally important. And I think that Buddha is highlighting that. So experience, teaching is the same. Effort, being enthusiastic when you come to church. It doesn't really mean trying hard. It means being energized and enthusiastic to be here. Sincerity. Donations. I thought this was good, right? How many people at our church really are good at donations? So, sometimes we focus a bit too much on monetary donations, but donations in terms of time is priceless, right? Doing dishes. When I first came here, my job was to work in the boutique with Kathy Nishimoto, and I had to take straws and I had to put them in the hole on the lid of plastic cups. That was how I got started in Buddhism. So she said, see this round straw? Put it in this round hole. And then she said, can you do that? And I went, yeah. And then cooking, right? We do that at Obon Hanamatsuri. Being caring. This is actually a Dr. Jivaka. He's very famous in the Contemplation Sutra. And I thought of Dr. Noda, right? Leading us through COVID, right? And then the same categories for women. Sujata was the woman who gave Buddha the sweetened milk under the Bodhi tree. So teaching, effort, sincerity, donations, cooking, and caring. Now, I want to show you the ones that I think are literally historically true because they just seem too real to be made up. So there's two monks he calls out, and this really reminded me of OCBC. Most fortunate in winning raffle drawings. This is actually in the book. There was a monk that was super lucky, and he won all the raffle drawings. I never win. So Kundahana was most fortunate. So he's well known in the Buddhist Sangha for just being incredibly lucky. Maybe he bought the most tickets. And then I like this one a lot. We do a lot of this at OCBC. Most skilled in the management of seating mats. So like the purple zafu are all lined up. All the chairs are stacked. When you go in the social hall, they're all up on these carts, the chairs. And then what I do, I'm kind of obsessive compulsive. If you go into the social hall today, I don't know if the chairs are there, but there were 12 stacks of chairs, and I reordered them so each one had 7. It was really irritating me this week that one was like 6, and one was 5, and one was 8. So this is very important. A minister once told me the more time you put into preparing for a service or an event, the more you get out of it. So, that's why everything has to be lined up and clean, and it sets the stage because it's an important event is about to occur. So this was Daba Malaputa, was most excellent in seating mats. So when I read this, I really thought of OCBC. Reverend Harada once told me that ministers can't get anything done without volunteers. Without the Sangha, ministers are powerless, right? We're not superheroes if we don't have a lot of support. And today we're going to introduce a lot of new Dharma School children. Dharma School is a huge help. I noticed that Tesho came in this morning wearing a shirt that said, I'm a teacher, what's your superpower? And he's got a Superman thing on. So, we all can think about that. What's our superpower? What's our gift? What can we give to OCBC? We're also going to see a movie this afternoon by Paul Goodman called No No Girl. Paul Goodman edits all the videos for everydaybuddhist.org, our online school. And I told Reverend Harada about this, and he said, he's going to know more about Buddhism than most of us, just because he's the editor of all the videos. He's watched every course, every lecture. There's 30 courses. There's about 200 videos, about a half an hour each on average. So I don't know. I hate doing math in public, but that might be 600 minutes. I don't know. But he's watched every video, and he's really deepened his knowledge just by volunteering his time at editing videos. And I think this deep sense of Buddhist appreciation will appear in the movie today in the No No Girl. So I really wanted to thank everybody for, we really realized what we were missing at OCBC during COVID. It was the Sangha. It was being together as a group, working together, doing great things as a group, not as individuals, putting our opinions and our preferences on the back burner so we could join in and help. And that even putting straws in a round hole in a plastic beverage cup is important, right? Everything matters, and it all helps, and we really appreciate all that you do for us. So I wanted to thank you very much. It's wonderful having you back, and it's wonderful that we'll be able to acknowledge all of our new Dharma School students today. That's one of the marks of a great and growing and thriving and dynamic Sangha is lots of kids running around, having fun, making noise, enjoying being here. That's what gives OCBC its juice for the future. So I want to thank you all for all you do. I was going to come up with my own list of superheroes, but I didn't want to leave anyone out. So I thought that wasn't a good idea. But I can think of something for each one of you, and it's unique and very important. So thank you very much. Please join me in Gassho. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo.